Welcome to Fails on the Trails. On this podcast, runners share their stories behind their DNF, did not finish, or DFL, dead freaking last, experiences. Our goal? To help you learn from what went wrong in a previous race so that everything can go right in your next race. I'm Justin Smith, proud owner of 13 DNFs, and I'm joined by
Lisa Decker, and I have 17 DNFs.
And I'm Nicole, and I have 5 DNFs.
And together we are your DNF experts. So lace up your running shoes and come along for the ride as we unpack the stories, mistakes, and lessons learned from the fails on the trails.
Okay, well, welcome, Justin. So to get us started, why don't you tell us a little bit about what you do for work and what part of the country you're in?
So I am in Oklahoma City. I do lots of different things. I am a supervisor at a distribution center at Jesco Products, and I work for the Outlaw 100 Trail Series. So I will mark trails for them, run their social media, work on the website, answer questions runners may have, and then I don't know if it's a job because I don't get paid for it, but I have the Run Trails Eat Bacon YouTube channel where I travel around, run 100-mile races, and make highlight videos of those races so runners can have less anxiety when they sign up for those races next year. And I guess just recently, I'm also a podcast co-host.
Dang.
That's awesome. Very busy. If you could pick 3 adjectives to describe yourself, what would they be?
Is stubborn an adjective?
Yeah.
Okay, we're going stubborn, relentless, and creative.
Those are good ones. Why do you think you're stubborn?
Oh, my wife just tells me that all the time, so it has to be correct. I'm very, I like to challenge myself doing hard things to try to erase limiting beliefs, and there's often times where it would be like the smart thing not to do something, and then I'm just too hard-headed not to. Like today, when it was 10 inches of snow, I still went out and got miles in. And my grandma always comments on my Facebook post, be safe, be safe. And I'm like, nah, like safe is not fun. No great person ever achieved anything crazy by being safe.
I like that. And I think most ultra runners have a higher degree of stubbornness. That's why we push ourselves to do a lot of these things, because we're all just stubborn and we just want to do what we do.
Oh, I like to call it perseverance, but okay. Justin, what are your favorite trail shoes for when it's like not snowing, just regular trails?
I like topos. So I was a big Atreyu and Hoka, and I also used Ultras. I would swap between them all because they all had different kind of feels to them, to where if you almost put it on mid-race, it almost works different muscles, especially if you go with the flat ultras and you go into speed goat. So I actually would mix them up. And then I was running across the years, and my feet were so swollen. This is a 6-day race in Arizona. My feet were so swollen. I asked Elena, can you please just go get me any wide toe box shoes, any ultras, anything? And she brought back this shoe called Topo. Never heard of it before. And I still had 3 days left. And I threw the Topos on, ran the last 3 days in Topos, and I loved them so much I never had to switch between any other brand.
Wow, that sounds good. I'll have to try those out. So how did you get into ultra running?
It was a YouTube video. I was an MMA fighter, and my coworker asked if I could run a marathon, and I was real cocky, and I said, of course I could run a marathon. And then I didn't think I would finish the marathon. I honestly thought I was gonna die because I'm not a marathon runner. I wasn't thin and didn't have a mustache, but I ended up finishing the marathon, and then I was a little disappointed. Not that I didn't die, but that I really made it. I just Google searched what's harder than a marathon, and Ironman came up. So I said, all right, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna be an Ironman. I looked up the prices of bicycles, and then I went back to the Googles and said, what is harder than a marathon that does not have to have a bicycle? And it said there's 100-mile ultra marathons. I'm like, I didn't know that was a thing. And I clicked on the YouTube video Life in a Day by Billy Yang about, I think, 4 women who ran the Western States Endurance Run. And that just really spoke to me. It really captured me. And I was like, that's it. I'm going to run 100 milers. That's my next jam. That's my next adventure. And that's kind of what kicked it off for me.
That's awesome. I run into a lot of people that don't believe me when I say I ran 100 miles. They're like, "What do you mean? Like that's not a thing." And it is a thing. And there's quite a few of us that do it because we're awesome.
Yeah. They always think that you misspoke and that like, oh, they rode a bike. It's not, they just can't conceptually process that happening. And it's
Yeah,
hard to do if you don't experience it, you don't get out to an aid station or get out to a race and see what it looks like. It really is hard to fathom what it's like. And that's also why it is good that there are so many YouTube videos out there now. So you can actually like, here, sit down, watch this 5 minute video, and this is actually what it looks like.
for sure. Do you have a bucket list destination race you would like to try?
It is on the list this year. I'm on the wait list for Cocodona 250. Whenever Elena and I would go out to do across the years, the 6 day race in Arizona, we would hike before the race. And then after the race, we would hike and we would drive out there and hit up trails on the way there and on the way back. So it's all about coffee and hiking for us. And I just love Arizona. You got so many different ecoscapes. You got the mountain and Flagstaff, and then you've got the desert and Phoenix, and there's so many different areas to explore all in one state. So when I heard there was a 250-mile race that pretty much shows you all the ecoscapes in one go, I was like, that sounds amazing. That's something I really want to do. So I'm on the wait list, but I'm pretty confident that I'm going to get in.
That's
I'll be
awesome.
excited to tell you for that one. I have a lot of
Yeah.
friends that have done it. Looks fun.
Is it loops or is it one straight trail?
No, you go from Phoenix and you go north to Flagstaff. So you're going through all the cities all the way up north. And then there's like these old timey towns that like your crew can go hit up the coffee shops at. And there's sleep stations. And you go through deserts. You go along these trails that has like the rock walls on your left, but then there's like a 200-foot drop on your right. So a little sketchy stuff like that. You go through the forest. And then at the very end of the race, you have to go up Mount Eldon, I believe, whatever's in Flagstaff. You have to go up the mountain at the end of the race and then go down the mountain into downtown Flagstaff where the finish line is.
That's going to be awesome. Lisa, do you have any more getting to know you questions for Justin?
Yeah, so I know you are. How do you balance your married life with like all of these ultras and all the volunteering and trail work and all that stuff? Like, how does that work in your marriage?
That is a great question. What really helps is we have an offset work schedule to where I get up and I go to work at 4:30 in the morning. So when I get off work at 1:30, I get my training in, I get outlaw content uploaded, and then I try to be present by the time she comes home at like 5:30, 5:30. So I'm present, I can hear about her day, and I'm a very high energy person. So I'm lucky that I can do all these things and still have energy for these conversations and not just be napping on the couch. And then the weekends, we have the same interest to where we will go out and get a hike in and get a coffee. I'm a wimp. I can only do iced coffee. Any hot coffee burns my tongue. But she's just wants to try all the different coffee places. It's great that whenever we do things together, it actually goes towards my training because we're getting miles in together. And then on the days when I go off and do my crazy adventure, run races, volunteer at races, she actually like drives out to see her twin sister because her twin sister lives about 45 minutes away. And so she can hang out with her sister and niece and get family time in that way while I'm off doing crazy adventures.
Nice. And that's helpful for me because it'll be something that eventually one day maybe I'll have to balance. I also know the first time I met you, you mentioned you have a specific goal with your 100 milers. Did you want to elaborate on that?
Yes, I want to run 100 mile races. My friend Will has done it. And a lot of people listening to this, if you finished a 100 mile or just an ultra, you know the feeling afterwards. It really does just make you a better person. It makes you more empathetic, gives you more perspective. It really eliminates the limiting beliefs that we tell ourselves every single day. And so I knew when I finished my first 100 miler that wave that came upon me and how it changed me. And I was like, if I can finish 100 milers, what kind of husband would I be? What kind of leader would I be? What kind of person would I be after finishing 100 of these and getting that little effect that comes with finishing just one?
Do you have like a criteria on how you pick the 100 milers that you do?
I am a budget runner, so I've done some stupid races because I've gotten a free entry fee. So it's just what I can afford. So I usually do a lot of looped races because looped races are easy, they're easier to put on, so they're cheaper, honestly. If you have a 2 mile loop and you only have one aid station at the start finish, you don't have to have tons of volunteers spread out through a long trail system with different permits and stuff. So I mostly find myself at smaller loop races. They're more affordable. And I'm very fortunate that sometimes my YouTube videos can get me free entries into races. So I definitely have to take advantage of those. And that often leaves me doing races 2 weeks apart sometimes, just because I have to take advantage of them when I can.
How many have you done so far?
I have finished 29 100 milers, and as you guys heard in the intro, I have 13 DNFs. So I am by no means a good runner. I That's where the stubbornness comes in. I think sometimes I'm just too stubborn to not, quit. So I make it to the finish line, but I am learning a lot, and feel like I'm getting better as I go. But there's still those DNFs that come around and surprise me from time to time.
All right. Well, we want to jump in and talk about the race you wanted to talk about today? Was it did you DNF? Did you like how'd it go?
This is going to be a DFL. So Lisa talked about the DNF in the first episode. I will hit up a DFL. DFL is dead freaking last. And every year my family chooses a, well, pretty much Elena and I look at races. We give them a list of races we want to do, and they choose one of those races for me and say, let's have our family vacation at this race. Whenever we did a race, I don't know, it was like in Michigan or something, or my aunt was like, why aren't we by a beach? We need to be by a beach. This particular race is the Vero Beach Octopus Ultra, and it is in Florida. So we chose this race so my aunt could be by a beach, but it was kind of dumb because it is a 100-mile race in Florida in, I think, August. So yes, it was very, very hot. And it is 8 separate arms. There's an octo base, and the octo base has a bridge. It's on an island. And so when you go to the bridge, if you go left, you go to Vero Beach, the city. And if you go right, you get this long strip of highway that goes along the coastline. And so these 8 arms sometimes will go out left, sometimes go out right, but you always end up coming back to the octo base. There was a 32-hour cutoff, which is kind of usually where I'm at in 100 milers. I'm a slow back of the packer, so I usually have a finish time around 30 to 34 hours. The race director made a slight mistake and put in the email that it was a 33-hour cutoff. So he honored that. I was grateful for that. And yeah, the Octo base is at the Environmental Learning Center. One sad thing I will say about this race, just to kind of actually put more context behind it, my family that they choose where to go for all these races, my grandpa got really, really sick, like almost like on his deathbed. So when it came time for the race, I was torn. Do I go to Ohio to be with my grandpa? Do I go to this race? And my family told me, go out there, run this race, and do it for your grandpa. So that was extra weight, and it was weird because we did have fun, but it did feel different because I knew my family were supposed to be there with me, but it was just Elena and I at the Airbnb.
Gotcha. That's kind of gives you extra motivation, I guess, to kind of keep moving and finish the race that you're doing it for somebody. I always find when you do a race for someone else or for something bigger than yourself, it helps you accomplish the race in the end.
Yeah, and I have a lot of respect for you because a lot of your races, you raise a lot of money and you run it for other people. And I'm more of a selfish runner. I guess I've never done that until this race. And I was like, ooh, this is a little extra weight on me for this. So we can kick it off with arm one. This is 8 separate arms of the Vero Beach Octopus. And it is a mix of trail and pavement. And you start off at the octo base. You have to run over the bridge to get to kind of the area. So I had the GPX files on my watch. And also on this, I typically never have any pacers or any crew, but Elena saw this race and said, I am going to crew you for most of it because you'll die if I don't. So that was nice of her. But arm one's really cool because it's called the Awakening. You run out to the beach, you run along the beach for 4 miles, you cut back, you run on sidewalk and down the highway, and then you run on this jungle trail. Now, the jungle trail is actually just a really long stretch of dirt road that is like behind all these mansions and waterfront properties. One thing I did that I do often because I talk a lot is I get in really good conversation with people, but not realize how fast they are. On this one, we're seeing the sunset. I'm getting good footage, but I'm going way too fast. By the time we finish up on the beach, we get to the sidewalk section, and I tell the runners, go ahead. I'm going way too fast. You guys are crushing it. And then I really couldn't slow down because Florida's flat and I'm used to trails and I'm on the sidewalk. So I started doing light pull intervals where I would run from one light pull to the next and then walk. And that run walk interval definitely helped me slow down my pace. So that's a little advice for runners out there who are running some kind of city streets and can't slow down their pace. But after that, I made it back to the Octo base and everything was good. Wasn't even hot yet. I got a nice little sunrise. And arm two is the craziest thing I've ever done in a race. It is called the ring. When you run arm two, you go off to the bridge, you run over and you start hitting up trails. you're going down these trails and it's like, I don't know, like car length wide. And out of nowhere, there's an arrow directing you through the trees and it is swamp water. And you're like, this can't be right. Like, did someone mess with the course markings? And it's like, no, that's actually, I guess, a trail. The mangrove swamp water, it smells terrible. And this was getting up to my thighs. Now, the whole time I have no idea. Are there alligators in here? Are there snakes in here? And so I was with other runners. I'm like, hey, how do you know if there's alligators in these waters? And they say, feel the water. If the water feels wet, then there's alligators in it. So
Oh
that
no.
didn't help. That didn't help at all. So I make it through the thigh deep nastiness, make it out to the grass path, and now the sun is kind of beating down. I love the heat, don't mind it all. I'm a heat runner. So I keep pushing forward and I get to this little party aid station like on by the water, and I had to go do a grassy loop, just get a little extra mileage in. And I came back to the little party aid station, and there was a boat waiting for me. I jump on this boat. The boat takes me straight across to an island where it is a mangrove island, uninhabited, and has a 2 mile loop around it. And I was started out running. This is amazing. I'm on an island in the middle of a 100 miler. I just got a boat ride, and then I realized this is hotter than what I'm comfortable with. It started getting more hot than I'm used to because I really do love the heat. I do the 2 mile loop, come back to the boat. The boat takes me back across, and they say, okay, just go back the way you came, which meant through the thigh high, nasty swamp water. So I went through nasty swamp water again. I had like rocks and sticks and twigs and a whole tree in my shoe. There was so much junk in my shoes. I made it through that, cleaned out my shoes, and then I'm going down the trail and it said this way to the popsicle chicks and had an arrow. I'm like, okay, what's going on here? And I shoot down this boardwalk. This boardwalk is over mangrove swamp, so I guess I don't have to run through it, but it still smelled terrible. And I see a pier, and at the end of the pier are two ladies under this pavilion and they had popsicles. So I ran out there and I'm sitting down. They give me a popsicle and they said, what flavor? I'm like, I don't care. I'll take any flavor. And I remember it was like pina colada, which wasn't that great. So I asked for a second popsicle because I didn't want to tell them I didn't like the first one. So, uh, but I'm grateful for them. That was awesome. And I think a lot of times with these, there's not a lot of aid stations at this race, but where there is an aid station is where they don't want you to mess up and they want to make sure you're going the right way. So I think they just wanted to make sure I went all the way out in the pier before I turned on going back. So like put some popsicles out there for me. But it was kind of cool to see them too, because at this point we're spread out and I'm r mostly running alone. So now I'm running back across the bridge to the Octo base to finish arm two. And at this point I am like, what the hell did I get myself into? It was already setting in. That was crazy.
Now, at that point, like since you were going through the swamps, like did you
Mhm.
need to like take care of your feet, like the wet shoes and socks, and
Yeah, soggy.
did you know that something else was coming up where you're like, my feet are going to be wet no matter what?
No, the feet weren't that big of an, they were hot, like, I feel hot spots, but I
Hmm.
never really typically take care of my feet. It's if I get a blister, I just run on it until it pops and you get that nastiness. I never was good at taking care of my feet. And
Okay.
so I felt some hot spots, but it really wasn't too bad. I was more annoyed that every time I had to go back to the Octo base, I had to run on a bridge sidewalk and I was on pavement. I'm such a trail snob. I'm like, pavement. So I was more
Ew.
annoyed by that. Yeah. I make it back to the Octobase and they're like, "Oh, we got bacon for you." And so it kind of got around that like the bacon guy is at the race. It was really cool that they were excited to see me and had bacon ready. And I go out for arm three. And this is when I got introduced to the real Florida heat because it's really heating up now. Arm three is called the Gates of Hell. There is the Wabasso Scrub Conservatory. It is pretty much a park, but instead of trails, it's just all sand. So there's like you go down a sand path and there's an arrow pointing you another way, and then you go around the sand path and then it puts you through these waist high weeds because they didn't trim the trail at all. You just had to cut through there. It was real itchy and real exposed. Now, this is a 1.8 mile loop you had to do 3 times. So you had to run to the loop and then run 3 times. At this point, I said, Elena, this is much hotter than I'm comfortable with. Can you please get some popsicles and like some cold drinks and hang out in the parking lot? And every 1.8 mile loop, I will come and sit in the AC and like cool down. So that was really good to have that looking forward to because coming into this race, I was telling her, I don't need a crew. I got this. And I'm like, oh my God, please, please be there for me. So I'm running this loop, and we are all miserable. It is so hot. It is a different kind of heat. And I make it to I meet this guy Amir, and I'm like, hey man, it's like, man, this is so terrible. I'm like, yeah, but if you make it to the car, you could sit in the back seat in AC, and we'll set a timer for 5 minutes and wait popsicles for 5 minutes, and then we'll do another loop. And so now Amir is with me. He was going too fast, but I enticed him with popsicles to hang out with me. We get to the car. I go in there. Elena's like, you guys are crazy. We refuel. 5 minutes off the clock. Do another loop. Same thing in the car. And it was so refreshing. And we get out, we do another loop, and now we got to go all the way back to the Octo base, which is on a sidewalk, no coverage. I don't like the pavement. Now, before this race, I did run Achilles heel with Lisa, and when it got hot, we went to the gas station. Remember that?
Yeah.
We got,
Got popsicles and enjoyed the air conditioning and
yeah.
drinks. I think that that should be like a staple in the middle of hot 100 milers is, or a couple times is get popsicles.
Yes. And now Amir is running his first ever 100-mile race. And by now he is like latched onto my hip. We're besties. And so Amir and I are running back to the Octo base. I'm like, how come I never noticed there's a gas station right there on the corner of the bridge going back to the Octo base? I'm like, Amir, we're going in. He's like, are we allowed to? We're going to get in trouble. I'm like, dude, this is an adventure race. We can do whatever we want. And
Mileage. So, I mean, they don't care if you add mileage.
yeah. And at this point, I got an energy drink because I was getting ahead. I was kind of getting a little bit of a headache because I was very caffeine dependent. So I got popsicles, I got snack, I got energy drink, and I told Amir I'm getting an energy drink just to kind of keep things going. And he got like this huge Red Bull. I'm like, bro, that is, and he got like junk food. I'm like, oh no, this is not the play. After the gas station, we're making our way back to the Octobase to finish number 3. Now, Arm 4 is Jumanji. This jungle road trail that I'm telling you about, it's just mansions lined up on either side of it, but it's just a dirt road that goes on forever with beautiful trees. This one was 11.7 miles, so it was out and he had to try to come back. And so me and Amir are moving. I'm still feeling strong. My feet are very, very sore, especially after the Wabasso Scrub Beach. All the sand and the pavement, my feet are not very good, but I'm still moving very well. And I look back and Amir is kind of fading, kind of fading. I'm like, bro, you can keep up, you can do it. He's like, I don't know. And I was like, and he started complaining about what's hurting. I'm like, I'm gonna lose my best friend. Oh no. So I said, hey, don't speak out anything that's hurting. Once you talk it out, it becomes more real. I was like, stand behind me and just look at my feet. And I'm powering ahead, doing my walking like a granny in a shopping mall. And I look back and Amir's fading. And he yells out, bro, I'm not gonna be able to keep up with you. Just go on without me. You got this. I'm so sorry. And I just was like, it's okay, man. It's okay. And I turn around, push forward, and then I start bawling like a little baby because I lost my friend. And that's uncharacteristic. Usually, if you cry, it's like overnight, like 2 a.m. But no, it's afternoon, sun is setting, and I'm just like, I have so much race ahead of me, and this is a tight cutoff for me. And I was really relying on him to help get me through. And so I went, saw some crew at the turnaround. I said, hey, this guy's really struggling behind me, pep him up and get some energy in him. And then on the way back, I didn't see him at all. So either he turned around or he got a ride back. And
Oh,
I know. And that's another thing too, on these out and backs, you look forward to seeing your friend to have like one more interaction with them. And I never got that. So it was a sad time for me on Arm 4, but I made it back to the Octo base. And by now, feet are trashed. I don't have a lot of food in me. I know I talked about doing a lot of looped races. And when you do looped races, you have an aid station where you can eat every 2 miles. But at this race, since everything's so spread out, it was 10 miles, 14.6, 10 miles, 11.7. There wasn't a bunch of aid stations everywhere. So I am a little behind on calories going into the night. And that is a mistake that a lot of runners can make. And you guys know when you have a DNF, it's not just one thing, it's kind of the accumulation of things. It's that domino effect. I go into the Blair Beach project, and you have to run along the beach at night. And since there are turtles, baby turtles making their way to shore, if you have a white light on, you will disrupt their pattern and completely like mess them up. And it's illegal to have a white light on the beach. You have to have a red light on.
did you get to see any baby
Yes,
turtles? That's exciting.
yes. The other runner saw more, and I saw the eggs. And really, where the eggs are, they had them all roped off and like sticks around them. Like, don't mess with them. So it was really cool. I saw more turtles at the Wabasso Conservatory, But I did see a couple just kind of making their way out to the
That's so
beach.
cool.
Yes. So I was very hungry and very alone. I moved really, really slow. And this other runner came up to me. He's like, "How you doing? How's it going?" I'm like, "I'm slow on calories." And so he's like, "All right, just keep up with me." And I just started running with him. And then I faded back. And I was like, "No, now I am a mirror and I can't even keep up with this guy." So at this point, I saw my race kind of slipping away just because it was such a long loop. And I knew what was ahead of me for arm number 6. So I slowly power hiked my way in for arm 5, really defeated because arm 6 is a 19.5 mile out and back on the pavement sidewalk that goes alongside the highway.
That
And
sounds miserable.
yeah, and that far into the race, they're going to put us on pavement for that long. I'm going back in. And I am a sad panda because I know my race is pretty much over. I'm going to go out on this 19-mile loop and come back in timeout. But I didn't want to quit. So I'm heading back a little defeated. And then the race director was like, "Hey, Justin, I got a pacer for you." I'm like, I mean, I'm doing the pavement loop. No one's going to want to pace me on pavement. They're like, "No, his name's Eric. He's training for a timed race on the sand next week, and he wants to get barefoot training in." And so I was like, "Are you serious?" I was like, "Bro, this is a 20-mile loop." He's like, "Yeah, I'm game." Going into this race, no pacers. And when I needed it the most, there was a volunteer at the aid station that wanted to get some miles in, and he decided to help me push through the night.
And
So,
he did everything barefoot?
yes,
That's
yes,
that's insane.
yes, because he was training for some kind of 4 mile loop on the sand, and so he really wanted to condition his feet for it. So, yeah, he did the pavement barefoot. We made our way into the night, but my feet were throbbing, just so swollen that, and especially on this pavement. So at the very end of the turnaround, there's this pier. And I was like, "Hey, I hate to do this to you because you're pacing me and I'm already taking up enough of your time, but can I lay on my back for 10 minutes and just put my feet up and get the swelling down on my feet?" And he's like, "Yeah, that's completely fine." I was like, "Because I just can't move that like under an 18-minute mile right now." So I put my feet up. Now that I'm staying still, all these like mosquitoes are swarming me, and I'm just like smacking my face trying to get the bugs off of me. And I was like, I was getting so mad. I just wanted to scream, but I didn't want to because poor Eric's probably like, "What did I get myself into with this guy?" But it did help. It got the swelling down. And at this point, Elena is like sleeping. Me and Eric start making our way back to the Octo base. And we're going along the highway and we are shuffling at a 15-minute mile. And just the sunrise gave me so much energy, and I knew it would. And out of nowhere, this car pulls over along the side, and I was real confused at first because I was hoping it was Elena, but it wasn't her car. I'm like, "Oh, wait, no, that is Elena," because we had a rental car. So that threw me off. And she jumped out and gave me bacon breakfast burritos. And I bit into one and immediately started crying again. I was like, I don't know if you guys have ever cried over burritos before, but it was a magical moment.
It is
And
magic.
so
Sunrise plus bacon, I think would make anybody cry at that point.
yeah,
What are
yeah,
you like 80 miles in, right?
yes, yes, because after this I would have 14 miles to go after this. So we go all the way down, go over the bridge, back to the Octo base, and then the next lap is called the Labyrinth. And this one I didn't know much about. I just know I'm so close to the end, I got to push through it. But I am, at this point, I'm still low on calories because there's no way I burned so many calories pushing through all this. And then I'm also dehydrated. So I'm drinking water, but I didn't take in enough salt to retain the water. It's also a lesson learned from this race. But the labyrinth is weird because you go down and it's like this place that looks like it's closed. Like there's no, you're not allowed in it, but the runners can go in it. And it's these condos overlooking the water, but there's no doors, there's no windows. It's the concrete shell of condos, abandoned and just spray painted. It looks like it's out of like a video game, like a shoot 'em up video game. And then there's a huge pond, and I'm like, this is really weird. It was really spooky. I ran by the condos, and there's an arrow, and then I follow the arrow, but I'm like, there's no way this is a trail. This is waist high weeds. But I just walked through it anyways and saw another arrow. I'm like, oh, they're just making this shit up as they go. Like, this is really bad. And day 2, it's hot again. Oh, it was so hot going through there. And then I made it to a trail. I'm like, yes, finally a trail. I get going on the trail, and then it points you in a field, and it's arrow to arrow in the field. And then you go up to this huge pond, and you have to go all the way around the pond, but turn around and retrace your steps all the way back, all completely exposed, all in the heat. I've never felt foot pain this bad before. I'm going, I'm like, I'm probably gonna miss cutoffs or something. Like, I'm taking so long to go through this. I am just dying. I believe his name, might get his name wrong. I think it's Eric. But I see him and he's like, hey, I'm gonna pick up the course markings. You're in last place. Is it okay if I pick up the course markings and bring you in? And at this point, I'm like, just pull me off the course. Now I'm a burden to this guy who's trying to pick up the race and can't even do it because I'm so slow. Oh, it's Michael. Michael is his name. And Michael's like, no, 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 it's fine. I was walking with Michael as he's picking up the arrows as we walk back. And I was really energized just by being with him and having conversation with him. And he was saying, I'm so grateful for you to come out and shoot this YouTube video. It's going to get more people out here. It's such a small race. Feeling the energy from him. Elena was sitting on the side of the road. I got cold water and stuff and filled the ice bandana. And then I ran back to the Octo base. And at this point, feet are completely trashed, but I am so close to the finish line. It just didn't matter to me. I'm at mile 98. And the last loop, the last arm, is you run a mile out to the Atlantic Ocean and you touch a flag and you turn around and come back. Michael told me in previous years you'd run all the way out and touch the water and come back. And I'm like, I didn't come all the way out to Florida to touch a flagpole. So I ran all the way out and touched the water, turned around, ran all the way back to the Octo base. And when I went back there, it was the two race directors. They were sleep deprived. My YouTube channel is Run Trails Eat Bacon, and they were screaming, "Eat trails, run bacon" at me because they, yes,
I love
and I, yes, and I crossed over the finish line, and he took a cap off a bottle of water, started throwing it at me. He gave me a license plate that said DFL on it, and I got the buckle, the Vero Beach Octopus buckle, which is still one of my favorite buckles to this day. And that is one of the hardest races I have ever done. And I had so many opportunities to quit, so many times when I wanted to quit. And there were many times when I thought that I couldn't make it to the end, but somehow I still pushed through. And I definitely think it was because I was running for someone other than myself that day.
Definitely. Do a lot of the races that you do give like the like little DFL awards like you got? Like have you
Yes.
ever seen them give out those?
Absolutely. Yeah, the Hawk has the DFL award. I ran the Washita Switchbacks, and that race has Best Blood award and DFL award.
Oh,
There's a lot of races that will reward the person that's DFL because they spent the most time out there pushing through, making it to the finish. I told Alicia we do the race on the Prairie Spirit Trail. We need to have like the last caboose award. Um,
yeah, I definitely think all races should do a DFL award for that exact reason. Like you've been out there the longest, dealing with the elements the longest, dealing with your aches and pains and feet for the longest. Like you deserve like the biggest award out of everybody.
Yeah, in a way it is like the toughness award or resilience award.
Do you think you'll ever go back and do this race again?
Yes, I want to. It would have to be another vacation race. And
Yeah.
there's so many on the list. So I don't know when it would happen. But it's expensive to go from Oklahoma to Florida, but I would really love to go out and do it again just because the race directors are so awesome. This is a race that started in COVID when no one was allowed to go out and run. So he set up an aid station in his garage and called it the Octopus Race. And they ran 8 different out and backs from his garage in COVID. And now it has blossomed into this beautiful race, but it is so extremely difficult. And people see the difficulty level. And if they just look at the difficulty and how stupid it is, I think they can easily not see how much fun it is and the lessons that can be learned while running it.
What were some of the major lessons you think you learned?
I thought of 5 lessons from the Vero Beach Octopus Ultra. We have first one, I couldn't do it alone. Thanks to Eric for pacing me and Elena for crewing me. If it wasn't for them, I definitely would have missed cutoffs and not made it back in time. So very grateful for them. And I know that's one of the lessons from your last race is having a pacer. The second lesson is there is heat too hot for everyone. I love the heat. I ran Texas endurance runs down in Dallas. It was 106 degrees and I was still okay. But that Florida heat in the sand with the humidity, it was different. The next lesson learned was sunrise equals power. It definitely, if you are running a 100-mile race or if you're about to run your first one, if you can make it to the sunrise, if you feel like you can't go faster than a 20-minute mile, just wait for the sun to come up and you'll be hitting 15s like nothing. I can't explain it. I don't know how it works. I just know I felt it and I know it's something I look forward to every single race. Pushing through the night, I'm so sleep deprived, but once that sun comes out, you wake up and you push forward. The next one is salt and calories equals a faster pace. I fell behind on salt and calories. A lot of times people would hit this wall and they say, "Oh, I can't go any further. I'm done. My body has given all it has to give." But really, you just need more salt and more calories. And a lot of people quit before they stop to reset, taking salt, taking calories, and then see if they can keep going. Because a lot of people can keep going. They just need the calories to keep pushing forward. And finally, the moment you want to quit is usually the moment before a breakthrough. There were so many moments in this race where I wanted to quit, or I was just hoping I would time out and they would pull me from the course. And directly after those, I kept pushing forward. It was sometimes given to me from another person, an interaction. And that is the lesson I wish I could share with my old friend Amir, because I think that he was so close to just breaking through that wall that he hit. He just needed some kind of reset, but he never gave it a chance. And I think that's a lesson. That's why we have this podcast, so we can learn those lessons from other people. So when we come to that point, we know to try something to try to fix what's going on. So we keep pushing forward to get to the finish.
Well, those are great lessons, definitely.
Justin, what kind of food did they have at that made aid station that you kept going back to?
They had bacon, of course, and I believe they had just the basics like burgers, hot dogs. They had like homemade cookies, homemade brownies, the salty and sweets. I don't really remember too much. It was a while ago, but since that was just the main aid station, they kind of just had the same thing there. A lot of people had crew. So they weren't going to be cooking up a ton of different things because if you wanted a burger, your crew could go to Burger King or something like that, or get you a Qdoba burrito. So a lot of people had crew that were mostly taking care of them. And really, we were craving like watermelon and fruit because it was so dang hot. So they didn't have too much different hot food there.
So on those longer legs though, did you like load up on some of the food to bring with you, or did you just kind of go out and that maybe kind of contributed to you being in a calorie deficit?
Yeah, that's what got me. I didn't take a ton of food with me. I mean, my thing is you walk out of the aid station, you get food, and you walk out eating and walking. And then when you're done eating and your hands are free, that's when you start running. I would do that, but on a 19.5-mile loop, it was just not enough. I definitely needed more calories. I had some Uncrustables, some stuff like that, but nothing like what I really needed. And I know I said I went by that gas station, but there wasn't a ton of fast food places. I ran adventure races before where we like stopped at Arby's and got sandwiches before. I wish there was more of that on the course, but it was mostly just like mansions and beachfront properties we were running by.
For you?
Yeah. Oh, well, that's the thing. You can like smell people like barbecuing and stuff. You're like, oh, that smells so good. That's something to take away from it. I know I've seen my friend Isaac, he would get a huge gallon Ziploc bag, fill that with food at the aid station, and then kind of walk out with that. And then of course you can put food in your packs. But I was so focused on making the cutoffs and pushing forward, and my feet were hurting so bad. I really did lose focus on how many calories I was taking in.
It definitely does contribute if you don't have a pacer with you most of the time telling you what you need. You kind of decide what you think you need or to finish, and that ends up kind of um, sabotaging your race.
Yeah, I definitely took for granted the all the races I do that are like 2-mile loops, and I'm eating every 2 miles, even if it's like a little handful of chips or pretzels or something. It was definitely a different experience having such longer distances between the aid station, between that start finish line, which is something runners are now dealing with too whenever they're doing these 200-mile races or sometimes going 15 to 20 miles between aid stations. So I guess it's a good lesson to think back upon as I go into Cocodona this year.
Definitely. You have any other questions, Nicole?
Yes. What is your favorite emo song, Justin?
Ooh. And I told them I invented New Times Roman by Dance Gavin Dance. Something you've probably never heard before, but I will share with you.
I think we have. I
So
think we shared that one during Achilles.
probably
Um,
force it on you.
right. We had a lot of forced music on each other during that
Yeah.
race.
You're gonna
Do
make
you-
me listen to Taylor Swift. You're getting some Dance Gavin Dance.
yes. What's next for you? What do you have next?
Well, the hardest race I've ever done in my life is next. It will be Outlaw. I'm signed up for Outlaw 135. I mentioned I work for Outlaw 100. I'm going to go to the course. It is an extremely difficult course. I'm going to spend all Thursday and all Friday marking the course. The 135-mile race starts on Saturday morning. If no one volunteers to take down course markings on Monday, I am going to drop down to the 100-miler, and it'll still be the hardest thing I've ever done. And I will sweep the course and take down course markings on my last loop and just finish in last place for the 100-miler. So either way, it's going to suck.
DFL, so it'll be like a forced DFL, another story.
Yeah. Yes. And I don't hold it against someone. No one signed up to tear down course markings on Monday because it is volunteering on a Monday in Quinton, Oklahoma. I don't expect anyone to do that, but I still put it out there in hopes that maybe someone will. If no one does that, the 100-miler will still be the hardest thing I've ever done. I've done the Outlaw 100 at the previous course, and it took me 44 hours. This new course is harder.
Okay.
So now that I'm at a harder course, and I'm going to be marking the course all day Thursday, all day Friday, so it's not like I'm going to taper going into it and relax. Like I'm going to have a little mile on my legs.
That's
So,
wild. That's wild. But thank you also for volunteering and helping while also running the race. Like that's
of course.
another level.
Yes. And then 2 weeks after the Outlaw 100, which will be the hardest thing ever, I am going to do the Lake Mayan 100-miler, which is a 2-mile loop. But there is this huge hill where you do switchbacks up the hill and then switchbacks down the backside. So it adds up and it feels like a mountain towards the end. So hopefully I'll have a little bit of my legs left over to where I can run another 100-miler 2 weeks after that. So that's the stupidity I live and the things that I look forward to and enjoy.
Awesome. Well, I look forward to following all that and seeing your YouTube videos on that as well.
Absolutely. And then Lisa's at Jackalope Jam. What's next for you?
I actually have Rocky Raccoon 100, which is
Ooh, that's right.
February 9th, but then I do have Jackalope Jam, which is 10 days later, and I'm doing the
Ooh,
100 hour and I'm rucking it. So I'll be wearing a 30-pound ruck while doing that for 100 hours. So it'll be my recovery.
I love it. I love it. And then Nicole, do you have anything? Are you the voice of reason and the smart one in the trio here?
I currently am not signed up for anything right now, but I do have a list. Have a list.
It starts with a list.
It does.
So,
And usually a friend saying, if you sign up, I'll sign up.
I
oh
know
yeah.
we gotta pick one for all three of us to meet again. So
do. We do. We need to get the band back together for a race.
Definitely. So that'll wrap it up for episode number 2 of Fails on the Trails. Please like and subscribe, tell a friend, and if you have DNF'd or DFL'd a race and you want to share your story, please send us an email at failsonthetrails@gmail.com. We will see you guys later.
Bye.
See ya.